It's connecting. Uh-oh. It doesn't want to connect to record. That is not a good thing. Oh, hello. Okay. It's working. Shalom, everyone, and welcome to Coffee and Connection Week 162. Thank you all for being here with me in the middle of a busy week, of a busy day, I'm sure for many of you, on a different day than usual. Please, God, tomorrow night at this time, please, God, I will be singing my heart out, probably crying my heart out at the Sharibo concert, which I'm super, super excited about. And it's such a powerful way to get into the Rosh Hashana and Yom Kippur mindset. Definitely, I've been going for the last 2 years, and this year I just felt like I cannot miss it. I need that. Okay, let's try again. I have no idea what you guys heard me say, but I'm going to try again. I'm very excited to, and I think it is very important for all of us to figure out like what will help us get in the mindset of Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. Are there certain classes you can listen to? Maybe you've been listening to all of the different Elul classes I've been doing. Are there certain books you could read, certain songs to listen to that really make a difference for you? Like I was saying, I know for myself, the music, like going to the Sharibo concert and the music and the words of Divrei Torah that he says, and just the feeling of singing Slichot together with him, and it's, I mean, his songs always make me cry. I don't know if any of you heard the new album, or if any of you went to the concert in New York, but I put on the first song of the new album and I was already bawling my eyes out. So it's important for all of us to know like what helps us feel connected, what helps us feel more in tune with ourselves. And I think that especially when we're already emotional, it can be even more important to make sure that we are connecting in that way because, maybe we can be so emotional that we disconnect, or we can get so busy with all the prep that needs to be done, all the meals that need to be cooked, all the clothes that need to be washed, or whatever needs to be done, that we forget to prepare ourselves. And then all of a sudden we're standing there, at some point we open a sitter, we open a machzor, or we're standing there at candle lighting, or we're about to like actually eat the semanim that we took all this time to prepare. And we're like, wait, what? What am I supposed to be feeling right now? And and then that can feel frustrating as well. Like, wait, I didn't even get to prepare. So I'm going to already acknowledge all of you who have come here today. I hope you've been able to listen to some of the other calls, that all the other podcasts and episodes, and everything that I've been doing to help you all get ready for Rosh Hashanah. I've been, really talking about Elul and getting ready for Rosh Hashanah on Coffee and Connection. We did a special Elul last week with my clients on our coaching calls. We even had a retreat. We're really trying to prepare for this time. And the truth is, you might say I'm a little bit extra obsessed with this time period. I really believe that really holds so much of a clue as to how we can then live our lives in a very, connected way, in a very like that question of who am I being, which is the central question that always we come back to in Absolute Feminine, that we always come back to here in Coffee Connection. We always, because that's what relationships are built on, right? Our relationship with Hashem, our relationship with our husbands, our relationships with our children, our relationships with ourselves, and everyone in our lives. We may spend so much time trying to figure out what does the other person want, right? How do I make my husband happy? How do I make my kids happy? How do I, do things that people will think well of me? And in the end of the day, when we really, really look at it, all of that can end up creating exactly what we don't want to create. Right. If like we have a desire for connection and we really want connection, then the real power comes from tuning into who am I and how do I express that. Now, I wasn't planning on addressing this now, but it's just reminding me. Somebody sent me a question after last week, which I thought I'd do a whole other episode on. But somebody sent a question of like, well, what if who I am isn't very nice, isn't very attractive, isn't very, connecting? And I'm going to invite like I definitely want to like invite you to consider that those not such great parts of ourselves, like what if I'm lazy? What if I'm negative? What if I'm tired all the time? What if I'm naggy or critical or controlling? That's not the you that I'm talking about. That's the you that comes out when you're living in fear and overwhelm and stuck in limiting beliefs. That's the you that is being judgmental. That's not you. That's all the stuff that stands between you and the life you want to live. You and the home. Okay, here we go. Take three, I think. I'm trying the other internet now, so you'll tell me. I hope this will work better. Now, I hope you were hearing like everything that I was saying. I don't know what exactly I got cut off, but like I was just getting so excited about this concept. I think it's so powerful for all of us to hear, right? Nope, what? Nope, you can't hear me? Nope, it's not clear? What's the nope? Let me know. I want to make sure you can all hear me okay. Um, that like we missed a chunk. Okay. So all of the like the negative aspects of ourselves, right? The laziness, the negativity, the judgment, the like nagging, the criticism, the control, all of that is not who you really are. It's how we act when we are being overtaken by our fears, by judgment, by doubt, by shame, by the stories that we're telling ourselves. That's not really who you are. Who you are is something beautiful. Who you are is something magnetic. Who you are is someone that is irresistible. If that's not coming out, if you don't feel like you're being that woman on a regular basis, if you're like interacting with your family and you feel like what they're in, like you don't feel good about that interaction, you feel like it's not someone, you're not someone that you want to hang out with, right? Sometimes we feel that way. Then that means that there's like a wall, there's this barrier called fears and doubts and limiting beliefs and stories and judgments that are getting in the way of you being who you really are. And when get we can be aware of those fears and not be pulled down by them, when we can be aware of our limiting beliefs and rewrite them, when we can like turn from judgment to empathy, when we can, that's what's going to allow us to live with connection, right? That's going to help us feel connected to ourselves and to others. When we get to really live in a space where we're living with love and respect and empathy. It's a That's when you're being yourself, right? Who you are is beautiful. Who you are is magnetic. Who you are is attractive. When you're not feeling that way, I'm sorry if now I'm repeating myself because now I don't know what you guys heard and what you didn't, but I got so excited about this topic that very often what if we don't feel like our self is beautiful, then what is our self being hidden by, right? What fears are holding us back? What are we believing that makes us feel so negative or judgmental, right? What are we believing that has us feel angry or that has us trying to tell everyone what to do, or that has us feeling like we're just overwhelmed and we can't get anything done, right? That's not you. That's the part those are the thoughts and the fears and the beliefs that can keep us stuck. But when we can work through those that and bring out our inner essence, that's how we get to really create love and connection in all our relationships, right? And so I'm really going to invite you to we're going to do an exercise together to help you figure out like what that is for you. What's your path? Because I really want that when you're standing there lighting candles for Rosh Hashanah, when you're standing in front of Hashem davening, even if you're just davening on your own or you're saying musaf or whatever you're doing, right? That when you are sitting and thinking about Rosh Hashanah, like when you're in it, that you feel connected to what's happening on that day. You feel connected to your essence. You feel connected to Hashem on that day and to who you want to be. And sometimes what happens is that Rosh Hashanah itself can be an overwhelming experience and a negative experience because we tell ourselves, well, I don't know what I want to be. Or what I'm saying today is exactly the same thing I said last year. Nothing's changed. And then we feel depressed, or then we feel like negative about it. Or what we want, as I think we talked about 2 weeks ago, is so big that we feel like we're never going to accomplish it. Or we feel so bad about ourselves because we're like, I didn't prepare. I'm not going to shul. I'm home with my kids. Like I don't even get to be in the mode of Rosh Hashanah. You get to feel connected no matter what's going on around you. You get to feel connected whether you go to shul or you don't go to shul, whether you get to daven or you don't get to daven. Because the essence of Rosh Hashanah is about who am I in this moment and what do I want? What do I want to create? How much desire do I have to live a meaningful life? And sometimes we have a certain level of desire, but we actually want to desire more. That's awesome. That's part of the Rosh Hashanah experience. I've heard Rav Yitzhak Berkowitz explain that. That's what simanim are about. That we're like davening through eating. Like we're not even using words. It's like we can't even express it. Like we're not even at the level where we can really express how much we want connection, Hashem. So we're just going to use like motions. We're just going to use like sign language almost. We're going to use imagery to express because we're not even at the level where we can fully express what it is that we want, how much connection we want. Right? So let's really give ourselves a few moments to really connect to what it is that we want and what it is that we want to create. Because you could do it now and take that with you into your Rosh Hashanah, into your year. And what I really invite you to see is that actually, like we say, Hakol holech achrei harosh. Everything goes after the beginning. It's not like, oh, I'm going to be I'm going to be more connected to what I want on Rosh Hashanah and like magic then I'll have a better year. It's, because like God will judge me then, and it doesn't matter what I do the rest of the year. No, hakol halach achrei rosh means that how we go into the year has an effect on the year that follows. It's going to have an effect on the next day, which will have an effect on the next day and the next day, and that's how new patterns are created. That's how different habits get built. That's how different realities happen is when we build one day on top of the next and it all starts with the beginning. It all starts with the intention that we have as we go into the year. So how can we set ourselves up to go into the year based on, I what we who we want to be and what we want to create, right? And the truth is everyone has their own path. For everyone that's going to look a little different. There's no one path that everyone can follow or that we should all be focused on because for everyone it's going to be a little different. Just like I'm going to give a very physical example, just like how you get ready for Rosh Hashanah is going to look different for everyone. Some of you might say, I've been cooking for a month, my freezer is full of food. And some of you might be like, I'm not going to start cooking till Tuesday or even Wednesday because I know otherwise I'll just get way more overwhelmed. Whereas for other people, that's more overwhelming. Some people will be more relaxed to have everything done and to know that everything's done and made before they go into the Chag. And other people will be like, I'm going to cook as we go along, right? I'm going to leave on a burner, I'm going to leave on an oven, and I'm going to cook as we go along. That makes me more relaxed. I talk about this a lot with my clients around Pesach time. What works for one person getting ready for Pesach will not work for everybody. Everyone has to find what works for them. Some people want to turn over their kitchen as early as possible, right? I turned my kitchen over a week before. Well, I turned it over a month before as like and that's what makes people less stressed. For me, I want to turn my kitchen over as late as possible that I can still get my cooking done without stress. Why? Because as soon as I turn my kitchen over, I'm stressed about chametz. Forget stress about food. I'm stressed about about someone walking in from outside after they ate their pizza and touching my kosher for Pesach kitchen. Everyone has to be real about what works for them. So let's be real about your journey. Let's be real about where you're standing and what is your personal path for moving forward. So here's some questions that you can ask yourself. This is what I'm going to invite you to really think about. The first and most important question is, what do I want? What do I want to create? What do I want in the coming year? And to really give yourself the permission to dream, to think of it, to want it. Now, some women get really stuck here because they say, but if I want it and I don't get it, then I'm going to be depressed. That's not desire, that's control. Okay. You get to remind yourself that just because you want something doesn't mean that you get it. Doesn't mean that if you don't get it, it means that people don't love you, like God or other people that you want things from. You can want, but if you, and you may not get it, but if you don't want, you're for sure not going to get it. If we don't want something, we can't create it. We only can create something that we are like, if we're going to build something, if we're going to build towards something, we have to acknowledge that we want to go there. And if we're not acknowledging where we want to go, we're still going to go somewhere. It's just to the place that we're focused on not going. It could be exactly where we end up going. Or we're going to focus on creating our fears instead of creating our desires, like I was talking about before. Our fears can be standing in the way, can be like the like a wall between what we us and what we actually want to create and who we actually want to be. So what do you want? That's the first question we have to ask ourselves. What do I want? And yes, what do I want in the world? What do I want in my world? They both matter. We talked about that a lot last week, that it's okay to focus a little on what you want or a lot on what you want, because what you want is going to build what you want in your life is also going to have an effect on what you want for the world. Most of us are not the president of a country. We're not at the head of an army. We're not leading some big international organization, but we do have power over ourselves and our intimate surroundings. And so we have to start there. That's what we could start to have influence on, starting with ourselves, right? So, what do I want? Allow yourself to want. And then, this is some really important questions to look at. Be real, really real with ourselves and ask this next question: what am I afraid of? See, like I was saying, our fears can very much hold us back. And sometimes we say we want something and we do want it, but we're also afraid of having it. We're afraid of getting it. We're afraid of not getting it, right? Like I was saying, you may not even allow yourself to want because you're afraid of not having it. What are you afraid that that will mean from you? What are you afraid that that will that you'll have to overcome to get it? What are you afraid of, like connecting with someone? What is it that you're afraid of? Really ask yourself that question. When I think of my desire, very often, as soon as we think of our desire, there's this very vulnerable part of us that actually starts to feel afraid. There's vulnerability in acknowledging your desire. So now turn to that fear and be like, what am I afraid of? What is my fear? Because very likely that fear is exactly what you get to that when you overcome that fear And I don't just mean pretend it's not there. When you work through that fear, you acknowledge it, you're real with it, you overcome it. That's going to be the quickest way to get to what you want. And the next, oi, I got very excited. And the next question is very similar, which is what am I avoiding? What am I avoiding having to do? What am I avoiding having to work on? What am I avoiding having to put into practice? What am I avoiding to acknowledge is true? What am I avoiding? Be real with yourself about what you may be or you are avoiding. And again, that can be scary, right? Because what we're avoiding can very well be exactly what's standing in between where we are and where we want to be. See, creating what we want, right? Of course, we can't just have everything that we want and it's not all up to us. There is a lot that what's standing in between us and what we want is really fear and what we're avoiding and what we're like where we're stuck. So we get to be clear with what that is. What am I avoiding? What am I afraid of? And as you look at that list, what do I want? What am I afraid of? What am I avoiding? You then get to ask the question that's going to give you your direct path to growth over the next year, which is what do I need? What do I need in a world where I'm not afraid, in a world where I'm not held back, where I'm not avoiding? What do I need to do to create what I want? And in a world where I do have fears, what do I need in order to overcome my fears? Do I need to see what's in my blind spot? Do I need accountability? Do I need to want it more than I'm afraid of it? Do I need to know how to overcome it? And what am I avoiding? What do you need to stop avoiding? What do you need to do? What do you need in order to stop avoiding it? What do I need? Be real with yourself about what you need in order to get to what you want. What do you need to work through? What do you need to overcome? What do you need to be real about? What do you need in terms of literally what you need? Are there tools that you need to have? Is there support that you need to have? Is there commitment you need to make? Right? And this is where you get to now create your plan as to what's going to help you get from where you are now to where you want to be, where you want to be. It doesn't have to be 20 steps in the future, 20 steps ahead where you feel like you can't even get there in a year. Then that's we're talking about what do you want what out of that whole plan, what could you actually accomplish in a year? And what do I need to be able to do that? What's holding me back and what do I need to be able to do it? And you get to create your plan. You get to be real with yourself about what will allow you to get there. Okay? That's what we all get to kind of stand in front of Hashem on Rosh Hashana and be real about. This is who I am. This is what I want. This is what this is what matters to me. This is who I know I can be. This is what I want to accomplish over the next year. And we don't have to have the plan completely worked out yet, right? That gets more into like Yom Kippur, right? What are the character flaws that we have that we need to work on? What are the things that are getting in the way? But we can already start to have some type of picture of what it's going to take to get there. Because when we already have a commitment to take those steps, then we're really showing the desire that we have. And the more we can acknowledge, and I think this is a really important piece of it. Sometimes we just are like, I don't know. I don't know what I want. I don't know how I'm going to create that. Like we just feel stuck. And when we're stuck, a confused, as my coach says, a confused mind, which is usually what makes us feel stuck, is that we're confused, it's just overwhelming. A confused mind does nothing. How many of you have been experiencing that as you're getting ready for a 3-day NTIF? Like, I don't even know where to start. And how do you start? You have to actually sit down and make a list and make a plan, right? Because if we're just confused, if we're just overwhelmed, then we don't even know what to do. We can't move forward. But if you tell yourself, okay, there's something specific that I know I want, okay? Let's say I want a more connected relationship with my husband. I want to be softer. I want to be less critical. I want to be less judgmental. I want to be more respectful. I want to know what that even means, right? I want to feel more like I want to be happy. I want to be calm. Then you can ask yourself, well, what's kind of getting in the way of me being that, right? What am I afraid of? Sometimes women are like, if we're real with ourselves, it'll come out. I'm afraid that if I can want to really connect with my husband, I'm going to lose myself. Or I'm afraid if if I'm trying to be calm, I'm just going to be denying the things that really matter to me. If I'm committed to um, being sober, I'm going to become a schmata, or I'm going to end up just being resentful like the last time I tried it. So that's what I'm afraid of. So what do you see in that? Is that I want to be connected without losing myself. And what am I resisting? I'm resisting learning what that means. Because I'm resisting actually having to be vulnerable and actually be myself. I'm resisting having to actually understand him and realize that I might not always be right, or he might not always be wrong, or I might not always get what I want. I'm resisting actually making space for him. And I'm also resisting learning how to be myself because I'm afraid of upsetting him. And then what do I need? I need to learn how to communicate lovingly. I need to learn how to be empathetic instead of judgmental. I need to learn how to see things, realize that the way I see things may be different than the way he sees things, and it doesn't make either of us wrong. I'm giving a whole bunch of different examples here. I hope that this is resonating and you're seeing something here. Yes? Resonates so much. Okay, I'm so glad to hear. So then what do I need? And then you can even start to go further and be like, what will help me get there? What will help me learn that? And be real with yourself about what that is. Okay? What can help you get to that in your life? And give yourself permission to be real about the fact that it's okay. See, sometimes what happens is that we shame ourselves for not knowing how to do it all, or we shame ourselves for the fact that we don't have it all together yet, or that maybe we're resisting learning something new because it means that we didn't know it already. And yet that's what growth is about. That's what growth is all about. Is about being able to acknowledge that there's something I didn't know yesterday that I can learn today. And that doesn't make me bad for not knowing it yesterday. We're not meant to be born knowing everything, right? We're not meant to be born perfect. We're meant to grow day by day, year by year, generation by generation. We learn and we grow and we move forward. And please, God, we should all be able to do that over the year. Now, I would not be a loving coach if at this point I didn't invite you to consider the power of, on the eve, right? On the cusp of a new year where we want to work and grow and feel more like ourselves and connect with the people in our lives, which I'm assuming you all want because you're here on Coffee and Connection, to invite you to step into something that will give you a very assured way to feel and show that you know this year is going to be different than the last year because you're doing something to make it different, right? And that is really the power of stepping into a some type of program, some type of experience where you know you're going to get the guidance, you're going to get clarity to create something different in your life, right? And that's really what is so powerful in the Absolutely Feminine program. Now, again, you may find a different path for yourself, and that's okay. The point of this exercise was not just all roads lead to Absolutely Feminine, but at the same time, I know from the testimonials that I've received from my clients, from hearing the difference that it makes for them, from seeing the difference it made in my life, and I know it makes in my clients' lives, that this is a very powerful way and a very powerful time to step into this type of process where you get to work through those fears and those doubts and those limiting beliefs and those that judgment and the negativity that gets in the way of being the woman that you want to be. And it also helps you learn the tools to move forward towards love and respect and empathy and connection and peace, to being the woman you want to be, starting from day number 1, right? That's the very first thing that I teach. And from having the support along the way. Because as much as we may be very focused and be very committed to, yes, I'm going to have a different year. Yes, I'm going to be different this year than I was last year. The reality is that if we don't know what that looks like, and if we're not clear on what's getting in the way of us not doing that, we can wake up every morning like I used to do. This is what I used to do every single day. I would wake up in the morning and I would tell myself, today I'm going to be a better wife. Today I'm going to be a better woman. Today I'm going to do it right. But it doesn't matter how often I tell myself I'm going to do it better. If I don't know how, then it doesn't matter how much I try to, you know, make spaghetti and meatballs. If I don't know how to make spaghetti and meatballs and I have no one actually giving me feedback as to what's working and what's not working, it's just a silly example, but how can I expect myself to learn? Right? And the power of having a coach and the power of having accountability and support and is clarity, is being able to move forward so that you can stand on Rosh Hashanah knowing that where you're going to be next Rosh Hashanah is not going to be the same place. It's not going to be the same place because you're going to have dealt with all the stuff that's getting in the way and built towards exactly what you want to create. Now, I'm sure you've all heard me talk about the Absolutely Feminine program many, many times. I'm going to post here again a special link that gives you it at a very special offer. It's like I said, this is probably like the last week of the year, last week that I'm offering it in this way. And I really invite you to consider if this would be the right step for you. And if you're really not sure and you're feeling like, I just don't know if this is the right fit for me, I don't know if I can commit now to a full year, I totally understand. You get to take this month of the year, which is the year that is most important in our whole growth process. Everything goes after the beginning. And you can take this year, this month, to try it out. You get to listen to module 1, which is all about stepping into being the woman you want to be. You get to have support during these 4 weeks, right? Sometimes women ask me like, "Well, we're going to have coaching calls like Hanukkah time, Pesach time during the Chagim." It's like, yeah, that's when we need the most support, right? Wouldn't it be so nice to like have a way to ask questions and have clarity as to how to deal with stress and overwhelm during this time? I was actually just speaking to a woman last week who joined the Absolutely Feminine program a few months ago. And she was like, I want you to know, I just feel calm. I, I'm starting to see changes in my relationship. I'm starting to see changes in my life. But most importantly, I feel calm. And then she wanted to know, how can I still be calm over a 3-day yontif? So I shared with her some tools. And that's what you get to do, right? You can ask those questions. I'm sure those questions are going to be asked over the next 4 weeks of coaching calls. Because, yes, we will still have coaching calls. We have to change the day, but we're going to have coaching calls 4 times in October. Why? Because you need more support. Now, you may not be able to join live. Maybe your life is too busy. Maybe that's fine. You can listen to it on your time. And if at the end of this month you do not see that it made a difference for you, this is not a good fit for you, you had this month to try it out, right? We can cancel. You have a month to try it. And if it's not good for you, that's okay. It is a year commitment, but you do have 1 month to try it out. And if it's not a good fit, you'll still have gotten the support and module one in the first month. And then you can step out and say, Thanks, but no thanks." And I'll say, great, I love you. Hatzlacha. Let me know if there's another way I can support you. So this is really a way for you to have clarity as to your path, clarity as to whether this is the right path for you. And if it, you'll, this, the module one and the 4 weeks of coaching calls is going to give you exactly the clarity of that. And to make it even more helpful for you, I'm going to do something that I'm extra special, which is that maybe part of you is doubting whether or not your marriage is even fixable, whether these tools will work for you because you just feel like you're broken, or you feel like your husband is just helpless, or you feel like your marriage is hopeless. And you're like, no one else is going to have the questions that I have because no one else has it as bad as I do, or I'm not going to relate to this. It's not going to fit for me. That's why I'm actually going to gift you at the same time that you step into the program. You'll get access to the Calm Confidence coaching experience, which is a 10 to 15 minute a day, 10 to 15 minutes a day audio that you get to listen to. You can listen to it once a day. You can listen to it whenever is good for you. It'll drip for you once a day for 10 days. So you'll have to, over Rosh Hashana, you'll make it up over the days afterwards. That's fine. And really, the whole idea is to show you, right, to help you get clarity as to whether or not you, your husband, or your marriage is broken. Because when we feel like we're helpless or we're hopeless, then it could be hard to even feel like, is it worth putting anything into it? And these 10 to 15 minute a day little coaching experiences are ways to give you clarity as to whether or not you and your marriage have hope. Okay? So that will be added in, and you will have access to that as well. I know that right now is a busy time of the year, but 10 minutes a day is something that I think we can all put on while we're baking cookies, while we're making our fish, whatever we're doing, right? Whether we're driving carpool or getting in the shower, right? We got to have 10 minutes to give you a some clarity and to really help you feel that you have inspiration and desire to actually move forward over the coming year. And if you have any questions, you're welcome to send them to me. You can send me an email, and I'm happy to answer the question for you, and hold your spot if you feel that this may be a good fit for you. Okay, so thank you everyone for being here with me. For I hope like I hope you really allow yourself to think of the questions that I asked in whatever capacity you're going to use it in, but to think of, what do I want to create and what's holding me back, so that you can tailor make your plan for yourself over the coming year. May it be a sweet year for all of us. May it be a year full of continued revealed goodness. We've seen so much just goodness over the last few days, and Hashem taking care of us and guiding us. And may that be our experience homes and for the whole world. May our homes be filled with love. May our homes be filled with light and connection. And may we all dance together in Hashem's home and feel connected to Him in the most intense way possible. I wish you all Shana Tova Umetzuka, really only sweetness. And this year and every year, may we all be blessed to live, love, and be loved with all our hearts. Goodbye for now.